What up, man? Appreciate you having me on. This is Grip from Grand Official, repping the West, but I love the East very much. It's what we're inspired by, So just salute. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. Welcome everybody to Now Hear This. My very special guest this evening is Grip from Grand Official. We're going to talk about the new project Supreme, take it back to his early beginnings and what he has going on in 2025. For those who may not be in tune with Grip, can you take us back to where you were born and raised?
Yeah, I was born in Southern Cali, over here in Bellflower, California. Um, I was born. I was. I'm 46 years old. I was born in 1978. So, but that's pretty much it. The guys with me, Dose, he couldn't make it. He's the MC of the group. He was born in East LA, and DJ Hallucinate also, turntablist. We've been down with each other since, I would say, 95, 94, 95. Okay. But we started Grand Official in 2003.
Okay. So take us back to some of your early beginnings, maybe teenage years, growing up out in Cali.
Yeah. So in my teenage years, in the 90s, of course, it's the golden era to us, of hip hop. So it was there's a lot of gangs at that time, a lot of street activity. And for us, being in that neighborhood, it was either you chose something else to revert you from that, or you just, grew up in that path. For me, I was a b-boy growing up. Fell in love with graffiti at a young age. Started making music, and we grew up in Pico Rivera, so we were looking for everybody that was hip hop because there wasn't that many. Everybody was running with the gang culture. So you see somebody with fat laces or something. You saw somebody with, polo shirt, or you were like, it's not the normal dude. He's got to be hip hop or listen to hip hop. So that's how we all kind of found each other.
What was that early scene like before getting into music? What were you seeing visually out there?
You know what? Even though there was a lot of street activity going on, there was a lot of hip hop from where we were at. I wouldn't say a lot, but there is a little bit of a history from the 80s. And we all lived in that same neighborhood. So we saw them kind of doing it. And as a young age, we kind of wanted to do the same thing. But a lot of my friends were in the b-boy culture. I was showed by a female named Terry. She was down with Zulu Nation and Rocksteady at the time. And she brought me to the graffiti events at a young age. So salute to her. She really got me like deep into the culture of it, more than so just the surface level, just music or one element. You know what I mean? I was learning about all four elements with her. So,
right. Who were some of your musical influences around this time?
At this time, I would say one of my very first was KRS. When I heard My Philosophy and him, like, just dropping, real lyrics and things like that. At that time, everybody's bumping. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with it, but they're bumping like America's Most Wanted, Ice Cube, which are good albums, but KRS was a little different. So I really gravitated to that. From there, it went into like Gangstar, Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Large Professor, DITC. I really gravitated to the people that were producing for like one artist.
Mm-hmm.
Gangstar and Pete Rock and things like that. But those are the influences.
So how did you personally get into music? Was it producing first? Were you a DJ, MC? What was first for Grip?
Yeah, so I actually used to MC. So I went from the B-boy era and was tagging at the same time with like graffiti. And then I kind of wanted to do something different. And I really liked watching people freestyle and stuff. One of my uncles He was from a crew called Latin Alliance.
Yeah.
Um, well, actually, he wasn't from it, but a friend of ours that's on the album. His name's G. It's words from G. He was actually from Latin Alliance, lyrical genius. Um, and my uncle used to hang with them, so I'd always see him freestyling and stuff like that. So I took a hand in that. We had a crew called the Chemist. It was like 7 of us, and we would just go freestyle and battle and things like that. Then I met some guy named Ern through G and Terry, and he was producing, and I kind of didn't like. I would I would be freestyling with the guys, but I almost didn't like being the front man on the stage. And when I saw that somebody would produce and just kind of play the background, I was like, that it's kind of perfect for me. So that's when I got into that.
Okay. Did you have a mentor earlier on, or are you self-taught?
So yeah, so somewhat of a mentor. He just definitely showed me the way. That's who I'm talking about. His name's Earn One. He goes by Neto Braggs. Uh, he showed me what equipment to start with. I started with an SP12, then moved to the 1200. Uh, Showing me that I needed to do my own drums. Don't start using programmed drums. You need to start layering. Um, Went from that to the MPC, just to kind of see where that would take me. Ended up with the MPC 5000, and his teaching was more kind of like tough love. Like he didn't like it, he just didn't comment on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if he did say, like, if he did hear me pull a good sample or something, he'd be like, "You got the ear for that. Like, you know, rock with that." So, that was how it was.
With the chemist, did anything materialize with you guys as far as wax, tapes, record deals, anything you guys put out there?
No, we were all young. We were like 15 years old. And at that time, getting in the studio was kind of difficult for youngsters, I guess, at least for us. But I'm not sure if you know who Dios Nagasi from Reagan era is.
Yep.
Uh, he was part of the Chemist. Skrill was part of the Chemist. Me, Dose, DJ Hallucinate, and a couple other people. But we were all like 15, 16 years old, and it was all freestyle. Everything was off the top and hitting different parties and venues. And then when we met Earn, he was like, the freestyle shit's cool, but if people can't sing your lyrics back to you and you ain't going for classic, like, you got to make songs. You know what I mean? So
Right.
me and Dose took a step back and we're like, all right, maybe like the freestyle stuff's done. Let's start trying to make songs. So Earn kind of put us in that direction.
Where did Grip find itself after the chemist?
After the Chemist, we kind of just we were always into hip hop and we're always rapping and I mean MCing and DJing and stuff like that. So it never really left the three of us. The other artists actually went and did their own thing and started other crews and stuff like that. But me, Dose, and Hallucinate stuck together. And then when in 2003, that's what we said, like let's start taking this like serious. Like let's go for classic. Let's try to make a dope album. Like let's try to hone in on our sound. Um, we really try to give it our all from 2003 on. I know it's a long time, but we have a lot of material. It's just we didn't want to regret anything that we put out.
Right.
So
Talk a little bit about paying your dues around 2003, getting your name out there, whether it was ciphers, opening up for other artists. What were you guys doing to get your name out there around this time?
yeah, we were doing different shows. We had did the Radiotron anniversaries, which is like that's history for the West Coast and the b boy scene. Actually, b-boy summit also. We did a few of those shows. We did we did a lot of parties, a lot of ciphers, and then we did a couple pay for play things, to get try to get our name on. We did open up for KRS at one time. We opened up for Kool Keith at one time. We opened up for we did a show with it was Show Off Records. So it was when Rex came out with his album and Terminology. Um, so we did quite a few shows, in LA. But to be honest, we had to take a step back because we were like, we need to make a solid album. So when we're on that stage, people are singing the lyrics back to you. They feel the joints that you're doing. Like it's not just the first time they heard you.
Right.
So that was our reason for taking kind of a while too, because we had to take we missed a step.
Gotcha.
So we had to take a step back.
Right. Did you have any early placements with other artists while in Grand Official? Were you working with other artists, shopping your beats?
Yeah, the first person we worked with was Fame from MOP, which was really dope because when I first started off making beats, I was playing MOP acapellas over my shit just to make sure that it sounded right, the way I wanted to go, the direction I wanted to go. And to actually work with Fame was really dope. It was really dope. And a friend, A1, he was in contact with him and he linked us up.
Right.
Um, we also did work with a graffiti artist from STP, Saints. Um, his brother's DJ Mishaps. They're really solid and solid hip hop heads, and we got to work with them also. Um, but we were always working amongst ourselves until recently, and we're like, when we do this album, let's try to get people that inspired us and things like that. So it's kind of the avenue we took.
Right. Talk a little bit about your creative process as a producer.
Well, for me, I use the MPC 5000, and I try to still chop like it was an SP 1200. I try not to have too much sample time. I don't try to loop. Uh, Things that I do, I start with my drums first because I feel like if I want to drop anything out, any samples, the beat needs to ride on its own on the drums itself. So that my drums is my that's my key point. So I do what I can on my drums, and then I start filling in the blanks where I hear different sounds. I'll use maybe 3 or 4 records for each joint, unless one sound is good enough. But I try to minimalize it a little bit.
Right. Before Supreme, did you guys have any other official projects out? I know you had a string of singles throughout the years. Is Supreme your first official debut album?
Yes, it is our first album. We did a friend of ours liked some of our earlier joints, and he put out like a little EP of ours, which that's where the first singles were from. We had LALA, The Stand, Show
Sure.
and Prove. So that's where that came from. We let them pick the tracks. We let them do everything. Um, we had faith in their judgment because it still wasn't where we wanted to be,
Right.
but they were pretty convincing that they wanted to hear them. Um, so we went that path, which I'm glad we did. It was a good experience. But Supreme is definitely our first album um, that we put our best foot forward with, and we have a lot of joints, and we have another little project and come up right after it. So
Right. Before we jump into Supreme, what do you consider your guys' biggest break prior to this album?
prior to this album, um, just meeting the people that we re-linked up with, Dios, Nagasi, and Skrill. We had lost contact with them since we were kids. And then right while we got into this album in 2022, we re-linked up with them, which that's didn't know how that was gonna happen, and they're a big part of the album. Everybody that's on the album is real, dear friends of ours, and we always wanted them to be a part of it because they supported us for a long time.
When did you guys officially start this project?
2022. I would say 2021 we probably started it, but there was certain songs like Wolves we had done earlier, and Dose wanted to redo it, and he just enhanced it. Just there were certain beats that he liked that I had done earlier, and we went back and revisited those songs. So I would say like a good 3-4 years maybe.
Okay. Talk a
Yeah.
little bit about the features on this project. You said everybody's pretty much dear friends. Talk a little bit about who's on here and your relationship.
Okay. The first guy on the intro is like a big brother to all of us. His name's Big Stevo. Uh, was a wildcat back in the day, and he as we got older, he had kids, and he went through something real tragic, and it's kind of hard to say it, but he was having a moment, and I recorded him. I recorded him talking because it's what we used to do. It's just he would sit there and listen to me make beats, and I told him, "You mind if I record you?" Like I was feeling what he was saying, so we did, and this is probably like in man, that was probably like 2013, that intro. Not the beat itself, but him talking.
Mm,
And we thought it was pretty powerful. We always liked how De La did it with Stakes is High when they're talking to the guy on the street. And when he was saying that, I was like, it reminds me of that.
right.
So I told him I always wanted that to be the intro of our album. Me and Dose were like, that has to be the intro. It's real heartfelt and it means a lot. So that was the first feature, and then we have KRS on there, which shout out to Be Original. We were looking for a couple features for the album, um, and he linked us up. He was working with KRS at the time. I was shopping beats to KRS for a project, and it just ended up reverting to like him being on our album because he decided to work with somebody else and go a different direction. Uh, but you know, it was dope. At least we made that connection, and then he got to be on our album, which I told you was my inspiration.
Right.
So it just felt right.
So how does that feel going from admiring such an MC to now working with him?
It's a blessing, man. Like I'm telling you, like even though I want to do this as long as I can, if I didn't, that was good enough for me. Like it's the blast master, bro. Like what I mean, KRS. As an MC, you know, definitely in my top five. In my top five. So,
Right.
um, but Be Original hooked us up with that. Be Original's been a blessing, also, man. He really put us on to people that he was working with and things like that, sharing the knowledge. Um, we got Razkaz. Well, let me go into we got Capadonna through Be Original also. He's real cool with all those cats, and um, we got Capadonna, Dios, Nagasi, and Skrill when they were young. They were at a Woo show. They were kids, and they got up on stage. Uh, they let them bust a little bit. They rapped. Then the Woo threw them to the Sharks, threw them back out of threw them back out into the crowd and stuff. But it was a good experience for them. They were, we were all Woo fans. So Capadonna sound, it just like, oh wow, like everything that we kind of were inspired by was kind of lining up. Um, MOP, of course, we had them on a couple joints, and they're one of my favorites. MOP is one of my favorites. They're raw. They're to the point. They're just ooze hip hop. That street element. And then we were pretty much done with the album. Oh, I'm sorry. The Posse Cut, Expertise, Halo, Sneaks, Rothstein, all those guys on the Posse Cut, Infrared. Uh, that was also really dope. Expertise, Peace to Expertise, really supporting us out in Canada. Um, and the album was done, and we said, you know what? Like, it don't feel right. Like, we need somebody. Dose was inspired by Razkaz back in the day. We were big Razkaz fans, so I ended up running into a friend that is super tight with Razkaz, and he linked us up, and it's just it was all just moving at a right time. So um, we were blessed to have all these artists on the album.
Right. What was that creative process like? Were any of these guys in the studio with you? Is it going back and forth, emailing tracks? What was that creative process like?
So when we started this album, it was in the middle of COVID. So a lot of people didn't want to get together and things like that. So the only one that we did record with is Razkaz. Razkaz, he came to the studio a few times and knocked some stuff out for us, and he's been very instrumental in the album, like you know answering questions and stuff like that, and just showing his skills and love to hip hop heads. So
Right.
yeah.
Talk a little bit about, as far as the group goes, what's your guys' creative process as far as topics, ideas, disagreements? How do you
Yeah.
guys make this come together?
So it happens a couple different ways. For me, like I work on beats all the time, and I I really try to hone on the sound that Dose likes, and I think that he would be into it. And it's crazy because some of the joints I'll make, I'll think he'd be 100% into it, and I'll put a lot into it, and he likes the simple one I did. You know what I mean? So it usually happens that way. I'll make like two or three of them, and he'll pick one and be like, "That's the one." Like, that one sparks me right away. So we don't really try to force anything. Usually it is me and Dose trying to, we actually, me and Dose have been on the same page for a long time. So um, I'll show him a beat and he'll come up with an idea right away, or it'll be the other way around. He'll tell me, um, hey, I was thinking I wanted to write about this or whatever, and I'll start trying to get that background for him. Like I realize that beats are meant for an MC to rap over. I'm not trying to make instrumentals. I'm not trying to just be melodic, things like that, which I'm not knocking. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But my beats are for Dose to rap over.
Right.
So I try to work as hard as I can to achieve the sounds that he's looking for.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Uh, I know these are 19 tracks and those are 19 of your babies, but I know there's some favorite babies within those 19 tracks.
Yeah.
What, what is Grip's favorite tracks on this album?
By any means, with Reagan Era and Capadonna. Um, Better recognized with Raz, and I would say, um, man, it's kind of hard. Um, by any means, for sure, better recognize, and I would say respect with KRS. I'm sorry, fire with MOP too. Fire gets me going, dude. Like I love the way Hallucinate set up the cuts on that, and just everything feels right on that joint.
Right. The album is out as of earlier this month. What has the early feedback been like so far?
It's been good, man. We're happy because the way things are now, people's attention spans are very short. The last thing you want is you post your album or put it out there, and the next day people forget about it. They're talking about something else.
Right.
But so far it's been getting a lot of love, which I really appreciate. Um, we're getting a lot of attention. The East has been supporting us like crazy, which is really dope because that's our biggest influence. Uh,
Right.
DJs in Paris and Europe and stuff like that have really been rocking with us, which has been really cool. Um, but it's hard to get your own people, the West, to get your back, man. I don't know what it is about the West, dude. They're gonna hate me for it, but it is what it is.
Right. No doubt. What platforms can the people find us on that are coming across this for the first time?
So for some reason we're struggling with iTunes right now. We've never been a problem before, but for some reason it's not there right now. So right now it's on Pandora, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and Bandcamp, and uh, 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 I think that's it right now. I think that's it. But we're gonna get it up. All the rest of our stuff is on Spotify and iTunes, so it should be within a few days. Hopefully that it'll be there.
Any plans for physical copies, CDs, tapes,
Yeah.
vinyl?
Oh yeah, we're definitely into the nostalgia of hip hop, so we have to do wax. We have to do wax. Also, we were thinking of putting out a couple of tapes, cassettes, and that's probably what we'll do, but probably come a little later.
Right.
Yeah.
For those who are, like I said, brand new to Grand Official, what can they expect from this new album, Supreme?
Man, I just hope they like it, bro. Like we put our best foot forward. There's beats by a beat by DJ Skiz. I'm sorry. There's two other producers that were on it, DJ Skiz and Mr. Walt from Beat Miners. Beat Miners is Kings. There it is DJ Skiz. I want to just give them a big salute for being on the album also. Um, it's hip hop, bro. It's we didn't try to be anything else. When we weren't, we were completely ourselves. Um, and we try to do something that hasn't been done from our side of town. So, you
Right.
know, Dose is a lyricist. He's got a lot of skill. He's one of my favorite MCs. Hallucinates a turntablist. He's just a scratch junkie. And I try to give them hard beats, bro. So like that's all we focus on is the basics.
Right. As a producer, what keeps you inspired to keep creating music? Like I know hip hop's, had its ups and downs. Sometimes it's, not what it, should be. What keeps Grip inspired to make, these beats in 2025?
I'll be honest with you, it's other producers that ain't stopping either. Like you hear the stuff that DJ Premier comes out with. You hear Alchemist. You hear Madlib. You hear all these producers that are going against the grain too. It ain't good for them either. You know what I mean? But
Right.
they continue to make dope shit. And to me, I just want to be in the game, bro. I just want to play alongside of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not gonna stop until that eventually gets there, bro. So that's the goal.
Any words of wisdom for somebody who's, trying to become a producer in 2025?
Uh, yeah, don't use programmed drums. Find your own drums and layer them and make them yours. It's very important for me. That's just how I look at it. And listen to how other people break other artists down. If you like a song, break it down completely and see what they did and figure out why you like it. That's what me and Dose and Hallucinate do all the time. We listen to anything comes out. We're trying to find a sample. We're trying to see how he hit it. Why did he only do instead of 16 bars he did 13? Just certain things. We dissect. We just dissect music. So
Is a Grip exclusive to Grand Official, or are you looking for artists to work with?
no, I'm actually working with other artists. Kutaj the Great I work with, which real cool cat. Innocent. Uh, some of the Reagan era cats I'm doing a lot of features for. I'm open to work with anybody, bro. Anybody that is just a solid dude and just a good person that it's out for the culture. I'm with it.
Once Supreme does its thing, what can we expect from Grand Official?
We're in the middle of working on a EP called Ronin. Um, it'll be about I don't know maybe 5 or 6 tracks, and then hopefully we'll be wrapping up the second album. So I think we'll do a lot of features. We're gonna release a chemist project that we worked on when we re-linked up with Dios and Skrill. We recorded like 6 or 7 tracks. So we're gonna release a chemist project also with the Reagan era cats. Um, just keep moving, man. Just try to be in everybody's face and try to give them what they want and get what we want out of it, and just keep it going.
As a producer, are you working on any, kind of solo projects? Or I know you say you're working with artists. What can we expect from Grip as a producer?
Yeah, I want to put out a couple instrumental albums of beats that I didn't use. Um, there's a little different. There's some of them a little more soulful, things like that. Um, the first instrumental album I want it to be called it's called Without Words. Um, but I'm trying to get some visuals to go with it, some videos to go along with the instrumentals. So it's kind of what I'm working on.
Right. Can you speak on any of your group members, what they've got coming up, outside of Grand Official?
Um, DJ Hallucinate, he's like our sniper, bro. Like he's like hiding in the bushes until we need him. So, you know, and those he's really he's busy. I gave him a lot of beats right after the album was done, so he's down to do features and stuff like that for other people. I know he's willing to work with other people, but Grand Official's very important to him. He's like my co-producer, bro. Like we work on everything together, so he has a lot of work that he wants to do for Grand Official still.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate you bringing this project by so we can discuss it and let the masses know all about it. Before we get out of here, can you tell the people your social media and where we can keep up with Grip as well as Grand Official moving into the future?
Yeah, so my IG is Grip Grand Official. Um, what else? I pretty much go by the IG a lot. My Facebook is linked with my IG, so I get all my messages through there. Also, they can contact Hip Hop Duality. They're linked up with. They do my promotion also with Jerry Graham. So any one of them, Hip Hop Duality, really they hold me down, dude. So if you can't get a hold of me, get a hold of them, and they'll link me up quick. So
Like you said, a big shout out to Jerry Graham for linking us.
yes,
Uh,
sir.
Again, the album is Supreme. It's out now. Let the people know once again where they can find that at.
Yeah, you can find it on Pandora, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, and Bandcamp. Grand Official. Everything's under Grand Official.
No doubt. Grip, once again, I want to thank you for your time and letting us know about this project. I am the journalist Sin-seer. That's Grip from Grand Official. And we'll see you guys again in the near future. Appreciate you, Grip.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace. Thanks again.